Real people, real conversations. Andrew Conway is Chief Executive of the Institute of Public Accountants, with more than 46,000 members and students and 5,000 accounting practices. Andrew holds professorships with Shanghai University of Finance, is an adjunct professor at Deakin University, and has co-authored the Australian Small Business White Paper, which highlighted the issue of mental health in small business in 2017. Andrew shares some of his thoughts regarding the state of small and medium-sized business with Tony Rabah, CEO of the Male Hug.
Through the IPA, I know the IPA's members are very passionate about small business community and trying to help them beyond their financial affairs. There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment, obviously due to lockdowns and COVID and the pandemic, which has created a lot of pain, a lot of financial distress for a lot of small businesses.
Really interestingly, even before the pandemic, before the floods, before the bushfires, the indications were that small businesses were already turning to their accountant and tax agents the first port of call. And that was for issues to do with matters beyond compliance, beyond tax. Though 9 times out of 10, small businesses in Australia turn to their accountant for advice on matters beyond compliance. And so when the chips are down, the first person they turn to is the accountant, because quite often the conversation they don't want to have is with their loved ones. So they'll have a chat with the accountant. Well then, who does the accountant turn to? When you've taken call after call from a member who says, my back's against the wall, I can't do this anymore. These are very visceral, very real experiences. I mean, I have lost count of the number of times I've been at an event where we've spoken about these issues to do with mental health and wellbeing, and the members turn around and say, yep, here's my story. Everyone's got a story. And I think what we've got to do is just get better at having the conversations and just destigmatising it. The challenge for us is how do we move that needle a bit further and say, well, do we get government involved? Do we get some public policy response? And government's been very keen to have the conversation, and we've made some good inroads there.
And I think the sad reality is that the issue of mental health, for professionals, for small business clients, or for the community in general, has always been there. It was just exacerbated further through the pandemic.
So, I mean, we've all been smashed in so many ways. You don't have to go too far down any high street or main street of any community and see the number of for lease signs. I mean, we can see out the front of the cafe we're in here, there are for lease signs everywhere. And what it says is that we need confidence to be rebuilt, and I think that starts with the individual.
My concern's always been what happens to that person who's closed their business, what happens to the family dynamic, what happens to their mental well-being moving forward. Someone in their late 50s or early 60s or even early 50s is looking now to sort of potentially move on to something else. It's not an easy readjustment. I've always said mental well-being or mental health, when you fix that, you have a better quality of life moving forward on all fronts. So we're talking about family, we're talking about business, all your relationships, become better as a result of that.
To bring together the critical role that accountants play, the critical role small business has in our community, but also the important issue of communication and just starting a conversation. And I think what you've been able to achieve has been just tremendous in that period of time of actually saying, well, how do we get better conversations going about the mental health and well-being of people generally, but importantly, blokes who aren't always good at having conversations about their own well-being. So, hats off in terms of where you've been able to get the Male Hug too, and just really keen to be and very happy to be part of it.